Hey my lovelies, welcome to my channel. My name is Sam and I'm gonna do a true crime story time while doing my full glam makeup. I hope you guys enjoy and do like and subscribe. It will mean a ton to me. So my true crime story happened in Maryland, United States. And this was on Mother's Day. So saddening that someone's Mother's Day was so badly ruined. And this is a murder case and it is pretty gruesome, so if you are a little icky-ish, so I would recommend you guys to not watch this because there is a point where someone was decapitated. So please, if you are a little squeamish, try not to, watch this. This tragic story happened with a couple and their two kids. They had a son and a daughter who prepared a nice lunch date with their parents on Mother's Day, like anyone would do for their parents on this special occasion. But their special day was ruined by some ill-minded person. As I was saying, the son and the daughter arranged a lunch date with their parents at a restaurant, and they waited until the time was, over of them, until they could no longer wait anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. And they tried calling their parents, but their parents were not picking up their phone, which if I was in that situation, I would be freaking out too. Anyone would freak out if it was their parents. They were quite concerned. They hopped on their cars, went to their parents' home to find out, to see such a horrific scene of blood everywhere. There was blood on the walls, there was blood on the floor, on the doors, literally everywhere. It was like, I just can't even describe because I wasn't there. So it was bad. There was blood everywhere. They immediately called 911 because obviously having this much blood at their parents' home was, to anyone, it's not normal. The police luckily arrived on time, like very quickly in this case. I've heard cases where the police just never arrives on time and the crime scene just gets messed up with people just, looking around. But this case, the police arrived immediately, like pretty quickly. And the police followed the blood trail. I just can't speak sometimes. The police followed the blood trail to the kitchen near the backyard's glass door. They found that the mother was on the floor in a big giant blood pool, and they saw that she was stabbed quite a lot of times, over like 40 times, and she was almost to the point of decapitation, which was very, very sad to find your parents like that. And the phone that she was trying to call 911 with was slammed right near that area where she was found. And right after right outside, I seriously can't speak. Right outside the glass door was the father, the husband. He was also stabbed quite a lot of times. Seemed like both the parents were dead for quite some time, like they were, attacked at night when they were sleeping. The night before, both the parents were at a casino, and last time they talked with their kids was at 9 p.m., which is most probably when they decided that they were going for a lunch date in the morning for Mother's Day. Which is, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself because it is so upsetting, like really upsetting. So let's begin into the history of both the parents and their work. Both the parents were very successful in their career choice, which means they were like not poor. They were like pretty good in with their living environment. Like they had a nice house, they were at a casino enjoying their time with friends, and the neighborhood they lived in was quite safe as well, since mentioned by the police that crimes like murders or like aren't very normal in this neighborhood. Upon further inspection of the crime scene, they found out that one of the windows was broken, like someone came through this window into the house to murder the parents. And very surprisingly, the murderer or the attacker was wearing just socks. He murdered the parents without wearing shoes. Okay, and he was wearing gloves because there was a glove print on the fridge, which the police suspects that he took some time after killing the parents to grab something to eat or drink, which is so sick. I just cannot imagine who would do that after killing two innocent people. Several items from the house were missing, like jewelry, money, and expensive watches. And the police mentioned that looking at the crime scene, it looked like that the crime scene first started from the bedroom where the husband was attacked and the wife ran outside to call 911 when the attacker caught on to the wife and stabbed her to death. But it seems like that the husband was still alive and he went outside the backyard door to call for help, but before he could do that, he was dead, which is very unfortunate. It is like, I just don't know how to react. This is my first crime scene and I don't know how I should react. I feel so upset knowing that how someone, could be so cruel to kill somebody's parents and right on the day of Mother's Day. That is just so cruel. Talking about the neighborhood they lived in, they had two neighbors living close by. They had an old woman named Eve, and they had oops trying to do makeup talking about cases is quite difficult. So as I was saying, they had two neighbors living around them. One was a family called by the name Thomas family, and one was an old lady called Eve. It was a whole family called by the name Thomas family, but they went on vacation the day of the murder. Both the families were quite willing to help in the case. The people who were on vacation posted like on their Facebook statuses that they were quite upset about knowing that their neighbors were murdered. And also the old lady, I guess, cooked some cookies for the police who were investigating but still, looking at their neighborhood, the police was not quite on this lead that the neighbors were, that the neighbors were the cause of this murder. So the other possibilities that they came up with was that when they went to the casino, somebody followed them back home because they had several cases similar with this situation. Somebody went to the casino and somebody followed them back to, rob them or murder them. But, that case, this lead also came up to a dead end. And the other possibility was to, obviously, if you have enemies, and this family who was murdered had testified against someone and I don't know really who it was because it's not really, out there who they testified against. And the other possibility is that there were some woodcutters around the area that were new to this area, and they were cutting some wood, going around the neighborhood asking people if they want to cut some woods in their backyards who have trees and stuff, something like that. But all these leads came up to a dead end. Finally, a retired police officer gave them a lead that, several years or a few time back, somebody had robbed the people who were murdered. Somebody got into their house, took their car for a joyride, and, I think stole some cash, which, to their surprise, was their neighbor, Brian Thomas, the son of Thomas, who is like, I guess, the father of Brian. And turns out that the little brother of Brian Thomas didn't go on vacation. So the police took this lead, still not very seriously, but they were like, let's check some, shops around that, take jewelries to sell them, like pawn shops, I guess. That's what they're called. And luckily they found Brian Thomas's little brother in one of the pawn shops that they were investigating at. But he was caught selling a ring that he robbed from another neighbor before the family who was murdered, which is so unlucky. Like, really, so unlucky. But very lucky for the family who lost their loved ones. So after he was caught, upon further investigating, after he was, found doing that, upon their further investigating, they found out that both the brothers were, talking about the murder of their neighbor, like, in a suspicious way. But, I haven't found anything yet. I'm gonna try to put in, like, more effort in my next case to find exactly what, the evidences are. But this case is my first case, so I apologize if it's not the best. So after finding, all these suspicious things, the police ordered like search warrants of the property of the Thomases and also the ship that they were on for vacation, which is pretty smart of the police. Like, very smart police. I want, police officers to be like that. And the reason why they kept it quite low is because they didn't want Brian Thomas to get the hint so he could, dump the evidence at sea, which would be so unlucky because if they didn't find any proof, they cannot arrest him. So the police contacted the ship, staff members, the authority of the ship, and asked them to not dock the ship so the, Brian Thomas won't escape or get any hint that the police is onto him, which was also very smart because it helped. So when the police got on the ship and, captured Brian Thomas, they found bloody notes, like bloody cash, in his wallet with a small pocket knife hidden in his closet. Which obviously, why wouldn't the police, arrest him now? You just have bloody money in your wallet. The next thing is even more wicked, is the parents of Brian Thomas still went on tour knowing that their son was captured by the police or caught, or I don't know, in custody of the police. How to say it like in police language. I guess that's how you say it. In custody with the police. And they went on tour. That is so shocking. Like, wow. I'm surprised. Like, very surprised. Like, very, very surprised. And they also, remember, had a warrant to check the house of the Thomas family. They found very heavy duty gloves and some dirty clothes, like stained clothes. Did not exactly look like blood, but it was dark. You know, blood goes dark after some time. So it kind of looked like blood, and it was in the washer, so it looked like somebody put some gloves, clothes into the washer to get rid of, you know, the blood, obviously. And to the surprise of police, Brian Thomas right away said that he murdered the parents of these like poor kids. And I'm so upset. And you know what the reason behind murdering them was? When I was like reading through this crime scene investigation, you know, newspaper detail stuff, I thought maybe, you know, the neighbors were as upset about something, you know, the neighbors are doing, or if the neighbors, you know, are mean or something like that. But these parents, the neighbors were very nice. The people who got murdered were very nice. And the reason behind is just straight up nothing. He just murdered them without no reason. He just went in, saw them in their room, and just started stabbing them. There was no reason behind murdering them, which is so wicked in very bad ways. And the glove print on the freezer is of him stopping by to get some ginger ale after murdering the parents. How can somebody eat or drink after murdering someone? I don't know how. Like, there's dead people almost to the point of decapitation laying on the floor, and you're drinking ginger ale. I'm sorry, but that's like just so out of this world. And I just pray that, you know, people keep, I mean, God keeps, you know, good people and even bad people away from such evil people. So after further investigating, they found out that the murder weapon was not actually the little knife. It was a bigger knife that Brian Thomas said in the interview that he dumped in a rubbish bin nearby. And he also said he had some, you know, the jewelry and the watches in a bag in his closet. But when the police went to his house to get, you know, the bag filled with the stuff belonging to the murder victims, it wasn't there. And you know who helped Brian Thomas? It's not his little brother, I can say. It's so unbelievable that the mother helped the son dump the bag. And it is so upsetting. And knowing that the mom knew that the son did this, they went on tour, they went on vacation, which is just so unbelievable, so unbelievable. So at the end, Brian Thomas was charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of armed robbery, and 1 count of something else, but I don't know what it is. I guess I forgot to write it down. But In my opinion, the police did a great job finding who did it, and I feel like it's because, the person who did it was just too close to the murder case. That's why he was easy to, get caught. And if it was someone not from that area, I feel like it would have been much more difficult to find out who did it. But I'm glad the family found who did it pretty quick. I mean, it was quite quick. Sometimes it takes months to find who murdered your closed ones. And sometimes it just takes the right type of clue and the right type of person to just give you the lead. And I feel like this case just proves that not all occasions can be about happiness for some people. So my storytelling skills are the worst ever, but I promise, I'm gonna try to improve them as much as I can. And it would mean a lot if you could subscribe and comment down below on cases you want me to do on the next time I do this case. I'm gonna try to do this once a week, which is going to be kind of like a weekly series, which I'm pretty excited about because it kind of makes me feel like a bad cop, which I always wanted to be, but I feel like since I'm not an educational person, that dream is never gonna happen. So why not do it on YouTube?